25th, 2026, and welcome to Mind Heart Mondays. We are wrapping up our series tonight, and actually this entire week. Our series on Mind Heart Mondays. Does anybody remember? Does anybody want to tell me? We've been talking about water. Water was what was on my spirit for May. And tonight's teaching is being one with the Spirit. So I have a little teaching for us tonight. Hope everyone is doing well this week and hope your week has started well and hope your month is wrapping up well. By the way, I'm not using my headphones tonight, as you've noticed. So do hop in the chat and let me know if you can't hear me. I will put them on. But for now, since I've noticed and I've had people say that it was static when I was using them the last several live streams, I'm going to try and do it without it tonight and see how we go. Also, it's storming over here, so don't freak out if my power goes out again. Just did a second ago for like a millisecond. So, but how is everyone doing? What is new? Any highlights for May that you'd like to share with me? Being one with the Spirit is what we're speaking on tonight, what I'm teaching on tonight. I'm going to give you guys a chance to hop on, log on, before I get started. Yes, we are getting some storms. So, yeah, this has been a good series, I think. And as y'all know, actually the last couple of months, I've been doing them complimentary, actually. So my Monday live stream, my Wednesday live stream, and my Friday live stream have all been kind of interconnected with the teachings. So, and I'm ready to rock this week. I'm ready to end May very strongly. So, are you ready? Welcome everybody just tuning in. My name is Ruby. Welcome to She's Restored. I am a certified master life coach in the healing arts, and I welcome you tonight. Being one with the Spirit, this is what we're going to get into. So if you have some paper and something to write with, you might want to take some notes tonight. So when I talk about being one, I am talking about wholeness, soundness in your spirit, soul, and body. This is what I teach all the time. I teach on the restoration journey, and I coach you on the restoration journey for those of you interested in doing one-to-one sessions with me. And tonight I'm going to teach you, how do I become one with the Spirit, the living Spirit of God. Hi, welcome tonight. Good to see you guys. So let's define the Spirit, or rather, evidence or fruit of the Spirit. By the way, can you guys hear me okay? Hi, good to see everybody in the chat. We're going to focus on four. We're going to focus on 4 of the 9 fruit of the Spirit, specifically these because hi. I'm not reading cards, no. I'm reading from my notes because I'm going to be teaching on how to be one with the Spirit. So yeah, we're focusing on fruit. I'm sorry, I said 4. 4 of the 9 fruit is what we're going to focus on tonight, because these 4 are your gauge to know if I'm in the frequency of the Spirit, if I'm tuned into the frequency of the Spirit. No, I don't do those. I'm teaching you about the Spirit of God, actually, tonight. So, let's talk about these fruit first. The fruit of the Spirit of God. Okay, this is my compass. If I'm in these fruit, then I am one with the Spirit. So let's start with number 1, peace. As I've been sharing, and as I share often, we cannot find peace in this world. It is spiritual. So I must turn to the Spirit of God, who is peace. So, and this peace I can have in spite of the chaos in the world, or the chaos around me even. I can carry peace. Peace is spiritual inheritance that I can possess, that I can own, that I can live with. And it comes from the Spirit of God. That's our first fruit. Our second fruit is love. And by the way, I just wrote these down. I'm not doing them in any kind of order specifically to anything. I just wrote them as they came to my spirit. So you are Indian? Well, actually, yes, I do have some Apache Indian lineage on my Mexican side. So you are correct in that assessment. And I do have some Apache Indian in my bloodline. How about yourself? Mong, how are you doing tonight? So, love, in spite of its absence around me, I still am love. If I am one with the Spirit, I am love because I have the Spirit of love. And I do have the Spirit of love. Number 3 is joy. Our third fruit is joy. I can have joy in spite of my hardships. Wow, that was fast. It's supposed to be 7 seconds after a lightning strike. In spite of my hardships, I still have joy. Okay? Because it is a fruit of the Spirit. And when I am one with the Spirit, I carry joy. Always. And the fourth one we're going to focus on in the 9 fruit of the Spirit is self-control. I can have self-control when I am tuned into the Spirit, because the Spirit is stronger than my flesh. So even if you struggle with whatever issues that would cause you to lack self-control, when you're tuned into the Spirit, you have strength to pull your soul out and away from whatever would take you out into a lack of self-control. So I can have self-control. So these 4. Any questions on these 4 so far? When I am one with the Spirit, I am at peace. I am in love and I have joy. And these 3 alone can truly get me through anything in life. And I'm not saying that casually, I'm saying that from experience. You can go through just about anything when you have the Spirit of the Lord and you carry love, joy, and peace. I promise. So, this is important to remember as well. These are spiritual inheritances. They are not intimidated, nor do they fluctuate, nor do they vacillate based on what life throws at me. So, this is why this is a powerful place to be when I have these, in spite of what's going on in my life. They never leave my side. In fact, I dare say, especially when I'm truly tuned in and connected to the spirit, and I'm doing, or I should say, I'm being in this posture daily, um, and they become stronger within me. So, in other words, there could be war all around me in my country. But if I have the peace of God, I can go through this steadfast. Perhaps I am going through challenging personal relationships, and I'm not seeing or feeling love coming toward me. I can still carry love. And actually, we would pour into forgiveness here. Because when I have love, I have forgiveness. I can still love in spite of not being loved when I am one with the Spirit. And lastly, as I mentioned earlier, when I have joy, everlasting joy, I can laugh or smile in spite of whatever I'm going through. How's it going tonight? Welcome, Nicholas. Good to see you. Okay, so let me give you some practical ways to, trying to see if I have another pen up here. If I don't, it's okay. I already wrote everything down pretty much. Practical ways to tune into the frequency of the Spirit. Number one, unplug. If you don't unplug, the rest won't work. I must have time to unplug. And what do I mean by this? Unplug from the world. Really, if you think about it, we were never created to be massive consumers of information or anything else for that matter. So I need to come back to the essence of my human nature that is divinely created. In other words, I must come to my natural function that God intended me to uh, live within or live through. That makes sense. And this means being still. Okay? We are so far removed from the natural way of living that we have to deliberately discipline ourselves to come back to this quiet and stillness. And it starts with unplugging. So, if I don't unplug, I can't access rest or stillness. And these are necessary for me to tune into the frequency of the Spirit. So, if you're wrestling with this, you have to discipline yourself to unplug. And what do I mean by this? So, I always encourage, and even though lately for me, my schedule is still wonky at work, like my day job. I don't have like a set fixed schedule. I did before, so that was easier. But I would usually have a Saturday or a Sunday that I would declare as my Sabbath rest or my day of no work, no, just completely unplugging. Unplugging from social media, unplugging from work, obviously, unplugging from the outside world, and just allowing myself to settle, to come back to peace. And so much healing happens when you do this. It truly is amazing. And it happens naturally. That's the beautiful part. You don't really have to do anything. It's almost like your mind, your heart, your body is already programmed to just be still. You just have to facilitate the process, especially if you're too immersed in the news. For some of you, it's the news. You just can't turn the TV off. You got to know what's going on. And while I feel like that's important, it's important to know what's going on around the world. Some of us need to tune out for a little bit, okay? And this is what I'm talking about, unplug. So yes, unplug from work, unplug from the outside world, and eventually you can get to the place where you even unplug from your own racing thoughts or whatever issues that you're dealing with. You learn to just lay them before the feet of the Lord and ask Him to give you the peace that you need. And we'll get into that later. But unplug. Hi, Nicholas. Oh, thank you. I'm glad they bless you. Number 2, once I can unplug, by the way, ideally you would have an entire day to let yourself settle. But for some of us, that's impossible. You work every day, or you're in a busy season and you can't seem to find the time. And this is why you make the time. So even if it's a 30-minute ritual once a day or once a week, whatever that looks like for you, even if it's 5 minutes, where you just turn everything off and let yourself unplug. This is going to help you. And once I can do this, then I'm able to practice the art of stillness. The art of stillness, okay? So this is going into having, a fixed time or routine or ritual, whatever works for you and whatever works for you. For some of us, maybe it's finding a place in nature where I'm kind of surrounded by, natural environment that facilitates me coming back to a peaceful state. For others, maybe it's a cup of tea in a quiet space in your house. Maybe it's lighting some candles and taking a nice warm bath. Whatever it is for you that encourages the space is how I begin to practice this art of stillness for myself. It will always be something that you can feel mentally, emotionally, and physically coming back to a quiet state. This is very important to remember, okay? And it's here in the stillness that I find the paradigm shift in my mindset. And this is the turning point. Because really, it is my mindset that is going to lead and dictate how I feel, how I make decisions, and inevitably how I live my life. So, find this for yourself. What is it that makes you, or encourages you, I should say, to be in this peaceful state, physically, mentally, emotionally. All right, and then once we have this stillness, then I can move on to leaning into the voice of the Spirit, the language of the Spirit. Okay, this communing with the Spirit, it's a language, it's a posture, it's a language, and it is personal. I will always teach you this. It's personal. It's you and God. God knows you better than anybody in this world. He knows you better than you know yourself. So when you spend time tuning into the frequency of the Spirit, you're going to learn a lot about yourself, actually. And you're going to obviously learn a lot about Him and His ways and His thoughts and His direction and His wisdom and so on. So, again, but I cannot hear the voice of the Spirit if I am distracted, or if I'm too cluttered mentally, or if I don't have time, or I don't make time. So I have to take some steps to put myself in this position. Okay. And then number 4, once I, and actually these kind of complement each other, because I would say some of us begin to hear God or see God once we go through the inner healing journey. He begins to show us things even when we're not looking. So I don't necessarily say one has to happen before the other, but I just put them in this order just to give us sort of a guideline. Okay, so number 4 would be to go through the process of inner healing. And that's where I come in, because this is what I do. This is my calling. I help you on the inner healing journey. I help you get to those spaces within yourself that are broken, that are captive, that are blocked from light, from love, from healing, from restoration. And if you're interested in that, I welcome you to my website, shesrestored.com. I have plenty of bundles for you, as well as group classes in my one-to-one sessions. So anybody have any questions? Anybody want to share anything? I am all ears. Ooh, now it's getting super dark. We're getting some storms tonight, y'all. And how much time do we have? Oh, we still have a little time. I can actually, let me I want to say, I want to elaborate on some of these. Yeah, I'll just go one by one, and I'm going to elaborate a little bit so we can have just a little more to take with us this week. So, unplugging. I'll just say it right now. Screen addiction's a real thing. There's a lot to it, and for some of you, it's not so easy to set your phone down for a long time. Again, I have to have discipline to do this, especially if this is a struggle for you. We have become very dependent, mostly because there's so much that we use in our phones on a daily basis. But I have to remember that I was never designed to carry a cell phone all day long. That is not the natural rhythm for my mind, for my heart, or for my body, and certainly not for my spirit. So part of this unplugging, for some of you, it's going to be a physical discipline for you. You might actually, maybe it's just not enough. It's not enough to just have the phone over there. You might have to turn it off for a little bit. Go outside. You know, do something different, like, um, add a new sort of, or implement a new routine in your day or in your week that facilitates this so that you can have a more tangible way to do this. Super important. Super, super important. Okay, so that's the physical aspect of this. The other thing is, even if you did turn off the phone, let's say, for if in that example, or maybe it's the television for you, or maybe it's the telephone. Uh, maybe you're a busybody and you like to talk and talk and talk and talk about all the gossip that's going on with everybody. So you're always on the phone talking to somebody about something. Maybe for you it's that. Maybe it's, today I'm not going to make any calls. I'm just going to lay low and give it a rest. Okay? So the other space is mentally. So even when I physically put, whatever it is for you that causes you to constantly be on go, I am left with the overflow. This is what I call it, the clutter of the mind. Okay, the overflow of how my mind's been functioning all day. And this is a whole process for some of us because some of us are overthinkers. So if you're an overthinker, your wrestle is in the mind. You need to learn to quiet your mind. Okay, one of the things I teach, and I swear by this because it truly helps you. By the way, I do have a class on this. I call it The Art of Self-Dialogue, Novelty Notes Journaling. I teach you how to release the clutter of the mind through journaling. But this is something I would encourage you and I would propose to you to help with unplugging and settling the mind is to journal. Get yourself a little journal, a little notebook, and something to write with. And every day, especially if you are an overthinker and you just can't, it's almost like it's too much for you to sit still because you're just constantly thinking, and what about this? And what about that? And did I do this last week? And this is called overthinking, ruminating in some cases. So you need to learn how to declutter the mind so your mind can begin to come back to its homeostasis. So for you, I would encourage you to journal. You can do this. I mean, the traditional is 5 minutes, 5 minutes a day. You can do it at the start of your day to kind of, whatever excess from yesterday, just release it and have a clean slate. You can do it at the end of your day so that everything that happened, you release it and you can have a peaceful sleep. Or you can do it however many times a day. It's what works for you and what resonates. Now, for those of us that are feelers and you process life through the heart, you are very emotional, you are very sensitive to the energy of others. For you, it's a little different, but the process is the same. Wow. And that is to quiet your heart with rituals that calm the emotional overload. Okay, especially if you are here. If you're struggling with anxiety or depression, then I need to implement something. The journaling does help because it does also release emotional overload and overwhelm. But I also have to connect not just what I'm thinking, but what I'm feeling. So I would probably do something a little more interactive. probably like a paint process where I'm connecting how I feel to something either visual or tangible, so that I can help myself come back to this space. Did you have a question? Hi, Epic. Of course, we missed you. It's never the same when you're not on the live stream. So, number 2 was the practice of the art of stillness. And again, these journaling sessions, any kind of art therapy will help you to have something to facilitate stillness for you. Obviously, nature therapy, I mean, that's the easiest. For me, go outside. Go outside and just absorb. Absorb the colors, absorb the wind, absorb whatever God is painting that day, the clouds. I mean, there's just so much beauty. I could go on forever. Have you noticed I haven't been coming? Yes, I did. You were sick? Are you better? I hope you're better. The art of stillness. And again, as I mentioned, this is the paradigm shift. So if I'm wrestling with negative thoughts, this is where it begins to transform, where I can begin to release and surrender, these negative mindsets, these negative thought patterns, and begin to receive and implement healthy thinking, healthy emotions, and learn the new way. The new way. Good. I'm glad you're better. And all of this happens through the inner healing journey. And I personally, I have a signature 3 to 7 step process where I teach you in one-to-one sessions how to acknowledge. That's step 1. Acknowledge. Number 2 is to accept and embrace. Number 3 is the process. And there's more. But this is a space for you, and it really doesn't matter what you're going through. I can teach you, I can help you identify some patterns. Certainly, if you've been through trauma or major life fractures, I can help you getting to those roots and helping you access them, firstly, because this is important. And then we bring them close to self in a healthy, safe, and tailored way. And then we learn how to release them and let them go. It's very important to understand that everything I've been through has become a part of who I am. It's a matter of, am I in touch with it? Is it disconnected from me, or has it disconnected me from self? And all of this we discover through the inner healing journey. And then I begin to assimilate the broken self to the restored self. Because what I never want is to be in fragmentation with myself. This is the scariest place you could be, is disconnected from self. Because when I'm here, I have no power to be who I am. And so, yeah, this is why I teach what I teach, and I help you connect with your true self. So I think that's all, y'all, for tonight. Be in one with the spirit. I pray this over you. I pray that as we wrap this month, that these little nuggets are going to help you get closer to that. And of course, if y'all need anything, you can reach out to me, shesrestored@gmail.com. Or you can go to my website for any of my bundles, my classes, or my one-to-one sessions. And I will be back on Wednesday. We are going to get into, let me just tell you because I've already started writing. For Wednesday, we're wrapping up our series, and we're going to be talking about in our anxiety and depression support, discerning the waters. Now, last week I talked about discernment. So if you watch that video, this is going to just all come together for you. And if you haven't, I encourage you to watch it. Discerning the waters that you're in, and the waters that should come against you. All right, love y'all. I will be back on Wednesday. And if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. All right, love y'all. I'll see you soon.